What has happened in the story so far? We began about 2 months ago, give or take, in-game, with Apis heading into the nearby town, the frontier town of Shadridge. It's about only 100 population or so. It's a very small town, and it's on the outskirts, the upper north west of the island of Corinthial. Apis, when they got into town, heard that there was some missing mead that hadn't been delivered by the local apiarist, and so Apis said, I'm going that way anyway, I'll pop in and see what the hold-up is. And when they popped into this apiarist farm, and about an hour out of Shadridge, Apis discovered the dead body of Jack Creed, the apiarist, and investigating it, they discovered that the bees had been stolen as well. The bees and some of the crockery of his house and things had all been stolen. Apis tracked them into the forest and found some goblins. The goblins were responsible, and they were kidnapping a giant potbelly pig-sized bee, the queen bee, the empress bee, that was in charge of the various queen bees of the various hives of the apiaries. And they were stealing her, trying to take away the bees, and Apis dealt with them. And then they took back the stolen goods to Shadridge, met some town guards who work for a faction called the Knights of Kavosna, and decided to avoid confrontation by posing in that moment as an undercover Knight of Kavosna themselves, saying, yeah, don't look into the fact that I've got all of this stolen goods on this murder scene. It's definitely not me that was responsible. Then they went out to find where the goblins were going to be taking things to try and deal with the rest of the goblins. And long story short, you found the goblin camp. You dealt with the goblins in small amounts, like picking them off in smaller amounts here, there, and everywhere. And then on your way back to Shadridge to tell them that the goblins had been dealt with, you came across an elf who said that their local wood elf village in the woods had been attacked by those same goblins, and you said, I can help you rebuild. So you offered your services to help them hunt and help them rebuild their village, to mixed reception. Some elves can be rather racist, particularly towards dwarves. You helped them out with their sister villages as well. You went around each of their sister villages offering your services to help them rebuild from these goblin attacks. And eventually you made your way back to Shadridge about a week later, saying, hey, I've dealt with the goblins, I'm finally back. In that time you had been gone, there had been a couple of deaths of old folk in the town, and there was some suspicion around the links between them, especially because they'd died in a suspiciously withering kind of way, where all the strength had seemed to leave them over the space of a few days. Not only that, but a few of the animals on the Colton's farm had also withered away to nothing and died as well. So it was peculiar. There was something going on. While you were in town, another death happened of a similar fashion, and you started looking into it, and slowly you discovered that it was the cause of which was a necromancer in town. A young woman passing off as a weaver, a seamstress, who was working for the town, a woman called Sally. She was killing people with shadows, and then when they died, their shadow would raise from their body and form part of her shadow army. And thankfully, you managed to discover what was the problem, what was going on, and confront her about it before she had too much of an army to actually do something too dangerous to you. You managed to defeat her 4 shadows and drive her out of town. You tried giving chase, but failed. She disappeared into the woods and left not enough track for you to find her. So she's still out there, as far as you know anyway. She could have just got mauled by a bear immediately and never come back again. So you went back to Shadridge, and now that Shadridge had no longer got a goblin problem or a necromancer problem, the Knights of Kavosna, the town guards of Shadridge, said, hey, it's probably worth taking this note to Fonderg. By this point, they'd discovered that you weren't actually a Knight of Kavosna, and they'd admonished you appropriately. So, water under the bridge, they gave you a note and said, would you mind taking this note to the town of Fonderg to see why supplies from Fonderg haven't been arriving? You went to towards the town of Fonderg, and on the way you got attacked by bandits. The bandits, it turns out, were actually working for a higher power, a creature called a manticore, a sort of hybridized lion, scorpion, dragon wing, human face, many teeth, shark-mouthed abomination that was forcing these bandits into servitude. So you said you managed to persuade the bandits to fight this manticore with you, alongside you, and by doing so you took out the manticore and freed the bandits and took them back to Shadridge, where they can now live out the rest of their days in hopefully relative peace, because frontier towns in a D&D world never have any other problems. Then you continued on your way to Fonderg. You delivered the letter, but you also discovered that just on the in the woods outside to the north end of Fonderg, there were a series of half-green dragon creatures. You were attacked by half-green dragon rats and half-green dragon squirrels. And you mentioned this to the guards when you arrived in Fonderg and said that was a problem. That was almost dangerous. And the guards said, "Oh boy, that's not good. That's usually the sign that there's a dragon in the area. An actual green dragon has moved into the area and then started doing the dirty with a bunch of forest animals and producing offspring." So in Fonderg, we had a little meeting with the mayor, a meeting with the Knights of Kvosna, a meeting with the Arcanists Entente, the Wizards Guild, the Wizards faction, and a meeting with the Pankempwer and Emgelshed, the PEA, the Druid and Rangers Guild that look after the balance between wilderness and civilization. We had a meeting with all of these people in reference to what do we do about this potential dragon in the area, and then the dragon arrived, just landed right outside the north end of town and said, "One of you killed a bunch of my children," meaning you, killing a bunch of its rats and squirrels. In deference, in payment for killing my children, I'm going to kill your children. Every night at dusk, you're going to send out one of your population with one of your greatest treasures, and you're going to keep doing that until I'm satiated. So that first night we decided, we can't really put anybody else in this position. It's going to have to be us. We're going to have to be the sacrifice. But we're not willing to just sacrifice ourselves to a dragon. Instead, we set ourselves up as bait in a trap. We wrapped ourselves in some magic rope and we made our bow illusionary. And we waited until the dragon came to collect us, at which point we were going to trigger the trap and attack this dragon, try and kill it. But the dragon didn't come. It instead sent another of its children, a half-green dragon boar. And this green dragon boar told us, "You can live today. Father didn't get to choose which of his children you killed, and you won't get to choose either. He's chosen for himself." And as he said this, there was a scream from the south end of town as the dragon took flight over the town and flew off with somebody in his claws. And we realised we had been outsmarted and diverted to the north end of town so that he could attack someone in the south. We didn't stand for that, though. Before this messenger boar turned tail and ran, we managed to fire off some arrows, which angered him, and he turned and ran towards us and engaged us in combat, and we managed to kill this half-green dragon boar and the half-green dragon crow that had also come to deliver this message with the boar. So we've dealt a significant blow to the green dragon's army by killing a bunch of his giant offspring. But we went into town and slept for the night, being like, okay, another day, another decision to be made around this dragon. We're going to have to face him head on at some point in the not too distant future. In the morning, however, there was a note pinned to the side of the well in the center of right in the center of town, in the town square, saying, "Seems you have killed another couple of my children. I will have to increase my collection rate." And we discovered that along with the note, there was now another member of the town missing. A young girl who worked for the Knights of Kvosna called Cassandra. She's been taken as well. And that's about where we left off, with Apis deciding, all right, well, it's no pussyfooting around now. It's time to take the fight to him. Let's go on a scouting mission. Let's go on a reconnaissance mission, work out where his lair is, and then we can come back. We can make a plan and we can attack him full force, because we can't just sit around here waiting for him to pick us off one at a time until the town is a little husk of a place. Yeah, that was something I should mention. Yeah, so we said a little prayer last night before we went to sleep. We said a little prayer to Ultimes, the god of hunting. We have previously pinged Ultimes's radar by being a good hunter out in the wild, learning the spell Hunter's Mark, and using our hunting wiles to hunt a Sasquatch, which is a particularly rare and almost legendary creature that we managed to find, hunt, and take with us back to a menagerie. That did not end well, but that wasn't part of the hunt. So we at least caught Ultimes's attention, god of the hunt, who rewarded us by extending the range of our hunter's mark. Last night we did a little prayer to Ultimes as well, saying like, thank you for providing the boar and the giant crow for me to hunt. We wish to continue this hunt by hunting a dragon. Can you lend yourself to us in some way? And he gave us a simple sign in that one of the giant crow feathers that we had turned itself into an arrow and then shot off, just disappeared. And we figured that was a sign from him that he's listening in some way. And I think that's pretty much everything.